Well, let's go ahead and call this meeting to order. First of all, prelude music, Miss Emily Schwank in the back there. Thank you so much. And of course, as always, the incomparable Susan Miyamoto. Thank you. All right, if you could join us and stand, invocation to be provided by our city manager, Mr. Aaron Adams, with the flag salute by Mr. Stewart.
Please bow your heads. Dear Heavenly Father, Lord, we just give you thanks for this day. We give you thanks for the privilege and honor to convene. We give you thanks for the democracy here today. Lord, we just continue to ask for your blessings over the city of Temecula, its people. We pray for wisdom and discernment for the city council and city staff over the course of this meeting this evening. We give you thanks for our first responders and pray for their continued wellness and care in the field. And we ask these things in Jesus' name. Amen.
Under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice.
All right. Let's go ahead and start with the roll call, please.
Councilmember Comachero.
For the last time, I am here.
Words.
Grieving, but I'm here too.
Councilmember Nagar.
City Clerk.
Good evening. Good. Councilmember Stewart.
Here.
And Mayor Run.
I am here. All right, first couple business items. I see we have some students here from our local high schools. Let's see a show of hands. How many of you are in the audience tonight? All right, I love your enthusiasm on local government. Thank you for joining us. This is probably going to be a little bit longer meeting than normal. And so at around 8 o'clock, you're more than welcome to depart quietly out the back and pick up your attendance slip for this evening. So anyway, we'll look forward to you hurriedly leaving. I'd recommend sticking around, though, because this is a pretty exciting meeting tonight. So, all right, let's go ahead and start with public comments. Do we have any?
We do, Mr. Mayor. We have 5 public comments. The first speaker is Randon Lane, to be followed by Carla Thomas.
Oh, Mr. Lane, I have to read the rules real quick. I apologize. I don't want to interrupt you, but, somebody has to. Total of 30 minutes is provided for members of the public to address City Council on items that appear within the consent calendar or a matter not listed on the agenda. Each speaker is limited to 3 minutes. Speaker chooses to address City Council on an item listed on consent calendar or a matter not listed on the agenda. A request to speak form may be filled out and filed with City Clerk prior to City Council addressing public comments and the consent calendar. Once speaker is called to speak, please come forward, state your name for the record. For all public hearing or council business items on the agenda, a request to speak form may be filed with City Clerk prior to City Council addressing that item. In that case, each speaker is limited to 5 minutes. Good evening, Mr. Lane.
Okay, sorry. I will try and speak that fast. I wear many hats in the region. With my city council hat, I will say, Councilmember Comachero, what an incredible legacy that you are leaving. And so I just want to say thank you because I cannot stay for that portion of the meeting. In my day job, I work for SoCalGas, and we are here tonight because, as I'm sure you know, the SoCalGas distributes natural gas to the residents of Temecula, allowing your residents to heat their home, have hot water, cook meals, dry clothes, and some residents may also use natural gas for a fireplace, barbecue, or hot tub or pool heater. Natural gas is affordable, abundant, and the energy source of choice in homes and businesses for the many purposes I just stated. As part of a balanced energy portfolio you and your constituents enjoy. I'm here tonight to raise your awareness of an ongoing issue in California. The state legislature wants to electrify everything. A proposal which did not pass the legislature this year would have required all new buildings built after 2022 to be all electric and would have required existing buildings to be retrofitted to be all electric by 2030. While this proposal did not pass, you can be assured that more proposals will be coming. Think about how much you pay for electricity to cool your home in the summer and how relatively little you pay for natural gas to heat your home in the winter. Imagine paying those high electric bills year-round because you are forced to heat with electricity, cook with electricity, and do everything else you now do with natural gas with electricity. The proposals to force you to electrify your home are being made in the name of global warming, reducing greenhouse gas, carbon emissions, and other environmental goals. And while these goals are admirable, a cost-benefit analysis just can't justify such drastic actions And every homeowner and business owner in Temecula and throughout California are the ones who will pay. Let me be clear, SoCal Gas does not oppose electrification. If you want to use only electric appliances in your home, that's your choice, but don't take away that choice from those who want to use other fuel sources. The fact is, virtually every home in Temecula already has electricity and natural gas, and this is balance. I am here alerting you that this balance is being threatened, and with it, the economic stability of families and businesses could be threatened as well. By forcing homeowners to replace their natural gas appliances, their furnace, stove, water heater, dryer, and more, the average cost to retrofit a home in California is $7,200 per home, plus the cost of electricity on top of that. Earlier this year, SoCal Gas began accepting the first renewable natural gas into our system from a solid waste and recycling company in Riverside County. If just 16% of the gas we deliver to customers comes from renewable sources, it will have the same effect on greenhouse gas emissions as electrifying all of California and at a much lower cost to everyone. With a balanced approach, we can achieve goals, preserve choice, and minimize disruption and cost. The point is, you shouldn't have to choose between what some decision makers in California believe is right for the environment and the reality of what families can afford. With a balanced energy approach, you don't have to. Councilman Comanchero, I, again, just want to say thank you for your many years of service. You've been an inspiration. You've set the bar for other leaders to follow, and I just want to say thank you again for your leadership. Mr. Mayor, council members, thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
Here is Carla Thomas, to be followed by Terry Biancardi.
I'm kind of nervous, but I hate to put a damper on everybody's night, but I need to bring to your attention. I'm renting a room. I pay $700 a month. There's no working smoke alarms downstairs or upstairs. I've brought it to the homeowner's attention, and they're just pocketing the money. So I live there, and there's 2 other tenants. The homeowners are on the property. And we can't, me and the other tenants, we can't wash, we can't cook. We don't even have kitchen space for a cabinet, to put our food in. When we eat, which we have to eat out every day, if we wash our dishes, let's say we have some leftover food, we have to wash our dishes in our sink. So I'm coming to you as a face of the hidden and exploited homeless. People that you don't see because we go in the house, we close the door, and nobody knows what's going on. But we're in the neighborhoods where people are paying good money, thinking they're in a good neighborhood, but then there's all these strangers coming in that they didn't sign up for. And I think we should matter because, we're paying the rent. Some of these homeowners, they can't even afford the mortgage. If it wasn't for us, the foreclosures might be up. We're the ones who's helping the market value of the homes, the comps, stay pretty high. And for me, it's like the way things are going at this house, I kind of feel empathy for the exploited and trafficked victims. I feel the same way because it's like we're just told to pay our rent, shut up, go to our rooms, and it's just, the conditions are horrible. And I think, and this is just my opinion, I think that they should have to pay some type of tax or fee. If you guys are gonna do like more low-income houses, they should have to pay for it. They shouldn't be able to just pocket the money and not do anything about it. If you guys can go in and inspect like the apartments and the hotels for working smoke alarms, they should have to pay for that too, and they should be inspected because I feel like I'm living in a slum house. I know there's mold in the house, there's plumbing problems, and I just want you guys to know because we're part of the homeless. It's just we have a room to rent, but we're not going to be counted in the official count for the homeless. So I was wondering if there's anything you guys can do about it. Well, thank you.
All right, thank you. Can you make sure you leave your contact information with the city clerk, and we will definitely pass this along to both code enforcement and other officials.
They were supposed to come yesterday, they didn't show up.
All right.
We're not even registered
Mr. Mayor,
with the homeowners association.
Ms. Thomas contacted our office today, and we followed up, and we'll be happy to follow up again tomorrow.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. All right, next speaker, please.
The next speaker is Terry Biancardi, followed by Chelsea Hart.
Go Good evening.
Good evening, Mayor, staff, counselors. I'm Terry Biancardi, and I'm here tonight to introduce you to a group of young people who've been working in Meadowview for the last 5 weeks. Raise your hands, guys. These 9 people are with AmeriCorps, which is like the Peace Corps for America, and they volunteer their services to help communities across their country. Their primary mission is disaster relief, but they also do environmental work too, as they are in our case, on our stream restoration project. These men and women are aged 18 to 25, and they come from all across the United States. They do heavy, dirty labor in the rain and worse, and endure primitive living conditions. They live off a stipend of $4.75 a day. They are motivated by service and the desire to give back, and I am inspired by the example they offer to all of us Americans. 2 years ago, Meadowview sponsored a team from AmeriCorps, and at that time, I suggested to the city that we partner and share a team in the future. I am happy to say that Pat Thomas took me up on the offer, and so Green Team 5 spent yesterday cleaning up the Murrieta Creek Trail. I also wanted you to know that AmeriCorps could use our support, as their program has been on the chopping block under the current federal administration, and while it so far has survived, it does face risks. We are not the only ones who are benefiting from this program. These teams learn essential life skills, like how to work a shovel and build fences, and how to get along in groups and resolve conflicts. We need more opportunities like this for young people, not less. Now I'd like to introduce their team leader, Chelsea Hart. Chelsea, will you and everyone come up? Everyone come up. So she can tell you a little bit more about AmeriCorps and how they're helping our city.
Hello, my name is Chelsea Hart. Like Terry said, this is Team Green 5. We come from Sacramento, California. We did a month of training there and then came to beautiful Temecula to work with Meadowview and work with restoring their stream bed, work with the city of Temecula, with the Santa Margarita Ecological Reserve, and also Habitat for Humanity with you guys. So we're just having a great time. We're doing obviously service work, reaching out to the community, getting to know you guys better. And yeah, we come from all over the country. We've dedicated 10 months of our time to just do service to America. So.
Great. Can we, just real quick, because we did this last time, Terry, really appreciate all the service to the community and organizing this and putting this together. Amazing opportunity for folks. Can you just each mention where you're from, just so we get a perspective on where everybody's traveled from?
My name Chelsea, and I come from the Upper Peninsula of Michigan.
All right.
My name is Sam, and I come from Danbury, Connecticut.
My name's Anita. I'm from Lincoln, Nebraska.
My name's Rachel, and I'm from El Paso, Texas.
I'm Taylor, and I'm from Richmond, Virginia.
I'm Jack. I'm from Cleveland, Ohio.
I'm Tucker, right on the Maryland-West Virginia border.
I'm Lucy. I'm from Milwaukee, Wisconsin.
I'm Amber from Pennsylvania.
All right. Well, welcome to Temecula, and thank you for your service.
Our final speaker is Audrey Salurzo.
Hi, I'm not Audrey Salurzo. I'm Rebecca Farnbach. And I put on my request to speak that I was wanting to notify everyone that Audrey is going to be leaving our community. She is moving to Santa Rosa at the end of this week, and she's so beloved. She's been here since the mid-'60s and has left such a legacy. She served on the school board. She, started the wine country with planting the first commercial vineyard. And I have left her contact information with the clerk. There's a picture of Audrey. and it almost looks like it has fairy dust on it. She's a special, special individual. So I hope that if you have time and if you know her, you will reach out to her and let her know you love her. I also want to mention another person who we've lost in the past month, and that's Bob Morris. Bob Morris, as you know, has made incredible contributions to our climate in our Old Town community. And the Vail Ranch Restoration Association is sponsoring a celebration of his life on Thursday of this week at 1 o'clock at Vail headquarters. It will be in the open air. You're to dress Western, bring your own chair, bring a plate of cookies to share, and well-behaved horses and dogs are welcome to come. As all of you are too. I think maybe the well-behaved might go for you too. And that's all I have to say, and I thank you, Mayor, council people, and staff.
Excuse me, Rebecca. I just wanted to say a couple of things. At our last council meeting, we did adjourn in the name of Bob, and the council also plans on doing some type of memorial plaque at one of the arches, and it'd probably be very fitting if you were involved in that. Just
Thank you.
contact our staff.
Yes, it'd be my honor. Thank you so much.
All right, thank you. All right. We have city council reports this evening. Nothing. Wow. All right. Well, then let's go ahead and move on to the consent calendar. All matters listed under consent calendar are considered to be routine and will be enacted by one roll call vote. There will be no discussion of these items unless members of the city council request specific items be removed from consent calendar for separate action. Item number 1, waive reading of standard ordinances and resolutions. Number 2, approve action minutes of November 27, 2018. 3, approve the list of demands. 4, approve an agreement with Questica Ltd. for new budgeting software system. 5, adopt the 2019 City of Temecula Emergency Operations Plan. 6, approve the 4th Amendment to the agreement with Temecula Valley Unified School District for joint use of a portion of Temecula Elementary School. 7, approve the purchase of 50 Hewlett-Packard desktop computers from Newport West Computers, Inc. for life cycle replacement. 8, approve the 2nd Amendment to the disposition and development agreement between the City of Temecula, successor agency to the Temecula Redevelopment Agency, and Town Square Marketplace, Old Town LLC. 9, approve a modification to the Truax Hotel project and adopt addendum to the originally prepared subsequent environmental impact report, planning application number PA18-1463. 10, approve local government partnership program contract with South Coast Air Quality Management District, agreement with ChargePoint Inc., and amendment to fiscal years 2019 through 23, capital improvement program budget for the purchase and installation of electric vehicle charging stations. 11, award construction contract to LC Paving and Sealing Inc. for Pechanga Parkway widening from Via Gilberto to North Casino Drive, PW 15-14. And finally, award a construction contract to Mamco Inc., DBA Alabasi for Butterfield Stage Road Phase 3, PW 15-11. Mr. City Attorney, I know we have a few conflicts. If you could just address those really quickly.
Yes, I will, Mr. Mayor and members of the City Council. Councilmember Edwards will abstain on consent calendar item number 6, the extension of the joint use agreement with Temecula Unified School District due to her employment with the district. She will not need to leave the dais unless a council member pulls the item for further discussion. Second, Mayor Ron will abstain on consent calendar item number 11, Pechanga Parkway widening, due to the fact that his wife is an employee of the Pechanga tribe, and the tribe funded this improvement as part of the intergovernmental agreement with the city. He will not need to leave the dais unless a council member pulls the item for further discussion. And finally, Mayor Pro Tem Nagar and Councilmember Comachero will need to abstain on consent calendar item number 12, Butterfield Stage Road Phase 3 construction contract, due to their business relationships with one of the principals of the ownership of Europa Vineyard Estates and Mayor Pro Tem Nagar's business relationship with Albasi. The contractor is detailed in the agenda report. And again, you two will not need to leave the dais unless a council member pulls the item for further discussion. And with that, you can vote in favor of the consent calendar, and those abstentions will be noted on the record.
Move consent calendar as noted.
Okay, and that passes 5-0 with the noted abstentions. All right, so we are going to adjourn to the last TCSD meeting, and Mr. Comachero will be running for us.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'd like to call this meeting of the Temecula Community Services District to order. Madam Clerk, we are all here this evening. Do we have any public comments? Okay, we'll dispense with that. We only have one item under consent calendar, item 13, approve the action minutes of November 27th,
Move approval.
2018.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Let's vote. And that motion does carry unanimously. Mr. Hawkins, what have you got for us for tonight?
Ooh, Mr. President, given the occasion, today is actually less about a report and just more about a brief reflection on our interaction over the past 5 years. You know, when I first started here in Temecula, the TCSD president position was transitioning from then council member Chuck Washington to yourself. At that time, the title of TCSD chairperson and TCSD president, they were kind of used interchangeably. I remember during our first meeting, I asked, do you prefer TCSD chair or TCSD president, which I actually preferred. I thought actually it was more prestigious. And you responded, if we're being honest, I also prefer TCSD president. And so it was, and so you became Mr. President. You in turn asked me what was my management philosophy or style. And more specifically, what were my intentions with your beloved Community Services District? And I said, since we're being honest, I kind of subscribe to the fact that if it isn't broken, then break it. And you laughed and you smiled and you said that despite how well everything is operating here, but we could always and we should always be better. And anyone who's ever interacted with you knows that you've always pushed us to do better. Challenge us to do better because we're capable of doing better. And ultimately because Temecula deserves the best, and especially when it comes to our veterans. And given your military service, it was that latter point that I really respected and appreciated about you. I previously worked for agencies in Los Angeles and San Bernardino counties, and I always struggled with reconciling the fact that my grandfather and others fought for this great nation. However, those communities and their quality of life were undermined and divided by whether you wore the color red or the color blue. But through your example and your leadership in community services, you reinforce the fact that here in Temecula, the only colors that truly matter are red, white, and blue. That commitment remains both a main focus and an underlying theme of everything that we do and undertake here in TCSD, whether it's quantitatively or qualitatively. And although there are many presentations here and remarks that you'll be receiving, I just personally wanted to thank you and your family, not just for what you've meant to the city, but what you mean to the Hawkins family in particular. Because when the cameras aren't rolling and the public isn't around, you continue to demonstrate a strength of character, provide sound advice and wisdom, and embody always the best of what Temecula has to offer. Heart. Godspeed, Mr. President, And that concludes my report.
Thank you, Mr. Hawkins. And to you, it's always Jeff. Mr. Adams, what have you got?
Mr. President, wow.
I had followed that.
Yeah, I'm not going to try to follow that quite yet. I do have some prepared remarks, Mr. President, and I'm going to save those for later in the program this evening. So no other further business tonight on community services.
Thank you. Do we have any member reports? Any director reports? Nothing? With that, we'll entertain a motion to adjourn
Move
to the
adjournment.
next regularly scheduled. I'm going to finish this whole thing.
Okay,
one
go
last
ahead.
time. To the next regularly scheduled meeting of Tuesday, January 8th. I'll watch it here in the council chambers. So that's a motion.
Move adjournment.
Second.
Motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? No. And adjourned 4-1, and let the record show that Mr. Nagar dissented.
Right. So now moving on to the exciting successor agency, the Temecula Redevelopment Agency meeting. Call the meeting to order. Note that all members are present. Do we have any public comment? All right, we only have a couple items on the agenda tonight. Item number 14, approve action minutes of November 27, 2018. And item number 15, approve Second Amendment to the Disposition and Development Agreement between the City of Temecula Successor Agency to Temecula Redevelopment Agency and Town Square Marketplace, LLC. I am looking for...
Move approval.
Second.
All right, go ahead and cast your votes. All right, and that passes 5-0. So now we're going to reconvene the Temecula City Council meeting and move on to City Council business. Item number 16, presentations to City Council member Jeff Comachero for 25 years of service to the City of Temecula. So we have 2 or 3 folks who would like to speak this evening. We will go ahead and start first with the office of U.S. Congressman Ken Calvert, and joining us this evening is Brenda Denstead. Good evening.
Good evening.
Hey, Brenda.
Good evening, Council and residents of the fabulous city of Temecula. The Congressman is not able to be here. There's a couple of things happening in Washington, unfortunately. And it is with his regret that he sends. However, it is my pleasure to be able to present to you this evening a certificate of congressional honor presented on behalf of the 42nd Congressional District. I would like to extend my heartfelt congratulations to you in your retirement from the Temecula City Council. Since Temecula's incorporation in 1989, you have been actively engaged in Temecula and have served in civic positions at the city for over 25 years. In 1993, you were appointed Temecula Community Services Commissioner and thereafter elected by the citizens to Temecula City Council in 1997, where you served ever since, including as mayor 4 times. Thank you for your service to the citizens of Temecula and your dedication and commitment that has helped to create the beautiful city in which we live and work. Please accept my deepest appreciation for your devoted service to our community. And it's signed, the Honorable Ken Calvert of the 42nd Congressional District. Congratulations to you.
Please give him my best. He's been so cooperative and helpful.
All right, thank you. Well, you might as well stay down there, Mr. Comachero. So next up, we have Doug Baldwin with the office of U.S. Congressman Duncan Hunter.
Yes, no, yes, no.
Or not. Okay, so moving on, we have the very honorable Mr. Jeff Stone, our senator. Good evening, Mr. Stone.
Mayor Ron and city council members and staff and fellow constituents, first of all, it's always an honor to come back to visit with you here in the city of Temecula. And what a special evening it is tonight. And I always get very concerned when we come to events like this and see a lot of people, because you're wondering whether or not they're either happy to see him go or they're very loving for the great service that you provided. I know it's the latter, not the former. I have only known Jeff since he applied for a community services position in 1993. I was elected in 1992. And I thought he was an honorable man then, and I think he's an honorable man now. And what always impressed me about Jeff over the past many years that we've known each other, 26 years, is his dedication to his country and his service to this country, and the importance of his family. His loving wife, Pat, his two wonderful sons, daughter-in-law, grandkids, brother that's here to be. And if you look at the brother, I mean, the Comachero men, they don't age. I don't know, they got great genes. I just learned today that their mother's 101 right now. True story. So the good genes are in the Comachero family. But Jeff and I have, I think we've really grown close over the past 26 years, and I really love this man, and I really consider him not just a friend, but I feel like he's my brother. I feel like he's a member of my family. And we've experienced some wonderful moments in the city of Temecula. We've experienced some very sad times as a Temecula family, but have always been there for one another. And where we really became close was when a proposition called 218 was passed by the legislature long before I was crazy enough to go up there. And what it said was that if you pass any kind of a tax in a city or a county by a simple majority vote, that you had to go back to the electorate and revalidate that vote with a 2/3 majority. Now, for those of you that remember why Temecula became a city, there are basically 3 questions that were asked on the ballot. 1, do you want to become a city? 2, what do you want that city name to be? And 3, you had to vote affirmatively for a special tax to take care of the many parks that we promised our constituents that weren't even in existence yet. We were going to hustle the developers to give us the land to build the parks, but we had to have a funding source to maintain them. Well, along came this proposition, and we found out many years after we incorporated, and we've already invested $10 or $20 million in parks, that we had to go back and get a 2/3 majority of our constituents to maintain the park system that we'd already developed. And Jeff and I partnered together, and we were the co-chairs of the Measure C campaign. This was not a new tax. This was an existing tax that was paramount in being what Temecula is today. When we have how many parks, Mr. Community? 40 plus parks in the city of Temecula. And we first incorporated, we had the Sam Hicks Park, and the Ronald Reagan Park was just being developed. And our goal was to see parks from one side of the city to the other, and certainly that's what we've seen. Jeff has, then 5 years after being a community services commissioner and serving so well, he ran for the Temecula City Council and joined our team, our team of people that are, we now have Marianne, who's been there for a long time now, Mike Nagar, who's a dear friend, and all the new council members that are filling the shoes of great leaders like Mike Nagar and Jeff Comachero and Pat Birdsall, and I could go down Carl Lindemans. I mean, we've had a cadre of wonderful elected officials in this city. And they're all shining examples of what a wonderful city should be. And Jeff, you know, you had a great deal of leadership into what we witness here in the beautiful city of Temecula. And I believe that each and every one of us is irreplaceable because we all bring different talents and expertise. You're a successful salesman, a toy salesman, and you know, then we saw the big box retailers, and then a local developer saw your business savviness and said, I want you. And we needed that business savviness on the Temecula City Council so we could be business friendly and promote this city as a great place to do business. And if you look at the city of Temecula, ladies and gentlemen, you're going to see Jeff Comachero's fingerprints all over it. Whether you look at the Temecula Library, whether you look at the Duck Pond, whether you look at all the parks that we have, all the community service programs, the list really goes on and on. And so it gives me a great deal of pleasure, and there's a lot of whereases here today. And I'm not going to read them because I think I've highlighted many of the important ones, but no one can ever question your dedication to the city of Temecula and the wonderful city that it's become and will always be. And I want to thank you for all those years of service, and I want to thank Mrs. Comachero. Pat, where are you, Pat? Pat, we love you.
She's hiding behind
You know,
the little one.
it's not just a sacrifice of the elected official, ladies and gentlemen. It's a sacrifice of the spouses that have to put up with a lot of absenteeism, a lot of dedication, a lot of frustration. And so, Pat, congratulations to you and your family. And Jeff, I wish you nothing but good health and a lot of enjoyment with your grandkids and children in the many, many decades to come. I love you, my brother. God bless you.
All right, Ms. Waldron, if you would join us, our California Assemblywoman. Good evening.
Well, it is a tremendous honor to be here, and you know, I can't think of Temecula without thinking of Jeff Comachero. He's been here as long as I can remember ever coming to Temecula after the city was incorporated, and he's such a big part, and as the senator said, his fingerprints are everywhere here. He's distinguished himself as a capable and effective leader. He is a force to be reckoned with for sure, and that force will continue on even after he leaves the council, not only with his work on the council, but as a tremendous businessman in the community, his service in the military and on various regional boards. And as you can see, this resolution has a ton of little words because they tried to cram everything in and it was impossible to get it all in. But we know the many local projects that he worked on to bring to fruition here and make Temecula the great city that it is, from road improvements to open space preservation, reliable public transit, the amazing hospital that we have, the college campus, new civic center, library, children's museum, the multipurpose sports complex, creating and master planning and part of the vision of the historic Old Town Temecula. Just on and on and on. With his amazing wife, Pat, and family, you have earned the respect and admiration of everyone who has come into association with you. And I will only read part of this, but let it be resolved by Assemblymember Marie Waldron, myself representing the 75th Assembly District, and also for the state of California, that the Honorable Jeff Comachero be commended for his long and distinguished record of leadership as a member of the Temecula City Council, applauded for his exemplary public achievements, and extended sincere best wishes for continued success in the future, dated this 11th day of December 2018. Congratulations.
All right, next up is our very own Mr. Chuck Washington, County Supervisor.
Mr. Mayor, please indulge me. I'm bringing an entourage because I think it's important under the circumstances. And I'll get to that. But I also, in recognizing that our district attorney is here, Mike Hestron, and asked him to come up with me, and he'll have some comments as well. The proclamation, much like the Assembly members' proclamation, is chock full of goodies and too small to read without glasses, and I don't want to put anybody to sleep, but it ends with, now therefore be it resolved that the Board of Supervisors of Riverside County does hereby proclaim December 11th, 2018 as Jeff Comachero Day within Riverside County. We honor and recognize Jeff Comachero for his 25 years of exemplary service to the residents of Riverside County. Retirement is a milestone that signifies the peak of a rewarding career and the beginning of a new chapter, and it is signed by all 5 supervisors, including my signature at the bottom as chairman of the board. I am also here representing Riverside County Transportation Commission, and they have sent me with a proclamation as well. I'm the incoming chair of Riverside County Transportation Commission, and it is signed by our current chair, Dana Reed, and it says, now therefore I, Chairman Dana Reed, on behalf of Riverside County Transportation Commission, do hereby gratefully acknowledge Jeff Comachero for his public service to the people and transportation infrastructure of Riverside County, and the example of leadership he has provided, and it is signed by Dana Reed, Chairman. And then, last but not least, Rick Bishop came in hand with a proclamation from WRCOG, and I am currently serving as chair of WRCOG. But the weight of all the proclamations, the weight of all the proclamations, it needed help. But at WRCOG, we also wanted to recognize Jeff's tremendous commitment to this. But before I hand the mic over to our district attorney, I just want to introduce a couple of folks from the 3rd District Supervisor's Office, because when my staff found out that Jeff was going to retire and then not come back, there were tears shed. And so we had negotiated a baton passing to a new chief of staff, and her name is Michelle Diarmond, and I'd like to have her stand up. And then I want to ask all the rest of my staff to stand up to show you the love and affection that they have for this man. And in closing, before I hand it off to our district attorney, I just want to say, and Jeff will get the joke, this is a man who would give you the shirt off his back. Now I'll explain the joke. I showed up for a groundbreaking at a major intersection on 215 and didn't have a key to my house to get in. I was driving in from out of town. On the way over, I called Jeff and I said, Jeff, I'm in jeans and I can't get in the house. Can you help? And he says, come on over. I went to Jeff's house. Jeff had laid out an entire wardrobe for me. And his only complaint was it looked better on me than him. The man's a giver, and we will miss his true public servant heart. And with that, I'll hand the microphone over to Mike Hestron, our district attorney.
Thank you. Mr. Mayor and Council, thank you for this opportunity to speak today. I just wanted to take a few minutes and to express my gratitude and at having worked with Jeff over the last few years. Jeff understands law enforcement and some of the struggles that we have in law enforcement. He's been a true friend to the men and women in law enforcement. And so I wanted to come down here personally and express our gratitude at all your support and all the great work that you've done over the last several years in the county and then before here in Temecula. So really on behalf of the men and women of the District Attorney's Office, thank you and enjoy your well-deserved retirement.
You want to pause? Jack, come on, we'll get everybody in.
Yeah. If I don't get in the middle, she'll yell at me.
Yeah.
Good?
Awesome.
Rick?
Thank you very much.
Thank you. You too. Long time for all of us.
Thanks for having me. Yeah, appreciate it.
Thank you, Chuck. Thank you, Mr. Hestron and Mr. Bishop. And you just were able to knock 3 more people off that list for me. Thanks. All right. So with that, I'd like to invite up Councilman Butch Murphy with the Pechanga Band of Luiseno Indians.
Thank you, Mayor. I have some things written down, Jeff, and then a few comments. I think that will put this into perspective. On behalf of the Tribal Council and the Pechanga Band, we want to thank you for your service and congratulate you on all the work you've done to make the city of Temecula such a great place to live and work. You've served the people of Temecula for, I find out tonight, 25 years, directly as a council member, a mayor, and also a representative to numerous agencies, including the Riverside Transit Agency, National League of Cities, Riverside County Transportation Commission, and many more. You've helped guide and shape the city of Temecula into what it is today, and that happened under your watch. You and your family have a lot to be proud of. Over the years, I know the team has changed, but for many years, the team was yourself and Marianne Edwards and Mike Nagar, Chuck Washington, Jeff Stone. All these guys worked together and were all so instrumental into shaping and building the community that we have today. We deeply appreciate your friendship and the respect you've had of our tribe as a fellow government. We thank you for all of your work, and we know that you are leaving the city and our relationship in excellent hands. I don't remember how many years ago it was that we met, Jeff, but it was back in the days when we were doing a lot of political struggles and working to get our humble little facility up off the ground. And back in those days, you know, we all had our stern tribal warrior faces on, and you know, we'd approach city council folks and people from the county and state and federal legislators and trying to get our messages across. And then I met Jeff, and Jeff started talking to me about this Dr. Pepper Pinkle, or
Penny Pickle.
Dr. Penny Pinkle. You know, try to keep a stern tribal warrior face when you're talking about Penny Pinkle. And he was really holding up this person as a selling point for a museum, a kids museum that was going in here, and it really kind of broke a lot of the ice between us, and I think I got to know you as a person a lot better through that venture that you and I understand your wife were taking on to develop here in this city. But you know. You know, you've always been a person that never hesitated to reach out and shake hands, never hesitated to say hello, never hesitated to show respect. And I think one of the things that sticks with me, you don't hesitate to show emotion. And, you know, the piece that we put together for Poesca Day last week, you actually mentioned that in the film that when we announced that we had purchased the mountain, you couldn't hold back the tears, and even during the interview, the tears were still coming. And I think that's what makes you a great man. And glad to have you as a friend, Jeff. And we do have in our culture a little something that we try to give as a gift whenever we do these kinds of presentations. And with that, I would like to present you with this framed copy of the Great Oak as it stands for a lot of what this valley is all about and its strength. And even though there aren't a bunch of words like the proclamations that were read earlier, as you sit and stare at that, a lot of words will come out because there's a lot of meaning in that. Good luck, Jeff.
All right, thank you, Butch. All right, next up we have Mr. Larry Rubio with the Riverside Transit Agency.
Honorable Mayor, members of the council, truly an honor to be here tonight to recognize, I'm going to call him Director Comachero. For 18 years, he's been director or chairman to me. I know he's a council member here. I've had the honor of working for this man, chairman twice. And in 2000, when he started, he was part of the board of directors that appointed me into this job, so I'll forever be grateful to him. He's helped us through a lot of struggle at RTA. We started with an issue of whether RTA was going to buy diesel fuel buses or natural gas buses. And we bought natural gas buses, and it was through Jeff's leadership. Then the cost of fuel was the next concern, and Jeff spearheaded a fuel task force committee. Something that was an expense to us, about 30% of our operating budget, turned into a revenue stream. We were buying commodities now, and we were reaping the benefits of RINs credits and LCTOP credits. So we actually make money running natural gas buses. The Paris Transit Center that advanced the development or the introduction of the Paris Valley Line, Metrolink coming into Paris. Jeff worked with us to reallocate an existing grant we had to help fund the Paris Transit Station that advanced Metrolink coming in. Then we had to replace the fuel again because those old tanks were getting old and we had to find a source of money. And Jeff helped us find a source of money, and we replaced that fleet that had become old. After 18 years, things start to go around a couple times. But he was always a steady force in the calm, and he was a mentor to me. He helped guide this agency for the last 18 years through many good times and through some tough times, including the recession. And with his business acumen, his calm presence, and steady hand on the wheel, Jeff helped RTA to be what it is today. Forever be grateful to you, Director. Thank you for all you've done. I have this proclamation for you that I'll add to the rest over here.
All right, thank you. Next up, we have Temecula Valley Chamber of Commerce. We have Mr. Connors and Ms. Sullivan joining us.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, council members, and Jeff. What a great lady this is to be up here with. You're not kidding. I'm telling you, this is the star of the show, not me.
Thank you.
But we just had a few words. Alice, did you want to say a few words to begin with? Sure.
Well, Council Member Jeff Comanchero, the days of Measure C, those days of melody going down the medium, doing cartwheels. Do you remember that? I would just like to thank you from the bottom of my heart. You have been an inspiration, and thank you so much for always believing in the Temecula Valley Chamber of Commerce, helping us with the economic development and the business community, and your efforts of always being a great partner. Thank you very, very much.
It's hard to top that, but Jeff, I want to tell you, from serving on the board of directors and the 1,000 members at our chamber, led by this wonderful woman and her staff, we are so blessed to be a part of this community. And I think of the 1,000 members and what's that made up of, and I think of it goes deeper than that. It goes to, behind that business is an owner or operator, and then a spouse or children or grandchildren. It's made up of families. And that's where this community comes together. It's the heart. And I feel the spirit of love and admiration here for you, as not only of your service, but as a human being and a great man. And I admire you for that. We congratulate you, and we thank you for your service. God bless. And we do have a token of appreciation. You'll have to open it later to discover what it is.
Okay, fair enough. One more. Don't.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Thank you.
All right, we are officially halfway through. Quite. All right, next up we have Visit Temecula Valley, Mr. Kelleher and Miss Adams. Good evening.
Good evening, Mayor and council members and Mr. Comanchero. So we're here to represent the tourism industry, which when you started in Temecula, I don't think anybody put the words tourism and Temecula together. That just wasn't even something that anyone would have considered. Now it is something that many people consider, to the tune of something like $750 million and more than 7,000 jobs this last year. So a lot has happened, and Temecula Tourism recognizes the role that you've played in that. But first, before I talk about that, Temecula has heart, and I want to talk a little bit from the heart about one of my neighbors that lives just down the street from me. So I moved to Temecula in 1997 to raise a family. I didn't know I was going to do this, but I started a business in Temecula. And I can tell you on behalf of myself and my family that Temecula has been a place that was a great place to raise a family. We have felt extremely safe. Our children have been extremely well educated. And it has been a great place to start and run a business and find people that wanted to work with us and that truly had heart. Temecula has heart, and there's a reason for all that. It didn't happen by accident. It happened in large part because of all the people that have been involved all along the way and all the little decisions they've made. And as Senator Stone said, your fingerprints are all over all the things that we see, that we admire, respect, and that we consider part of the success of Temecula. But I also know from working inside within a business and within a variety of different organizations, your fingerprints are all over things that are successes in Temecula that most people don't even realize. And so speaking from the heart as your neighbor and your friend and somebody who has a great deal of respect and admiration for you, I can say that I'm here more than just a representative of Temecula. I'm here as somebody who truly recognizes what you've done and the team that's been around you has done for all of us. So I do appreciate that, but the important thing is that I have an important proclamation to read from you. I memorized it. It's from the tourism community, which, as I said, has done tremendously in this town, in large part because of some things that have happened along the ways that are invisible, including in 2004 when we created the TID, the Tourism District, that in fact you were very involved in and very instrumental in. And so the proclamation reads like this. Whereas you rock, we're going to present you with this gift from Temecula Valley in recognition of your rockiness. Oh, you got to get in the middle.
Yeah, I know. She yells at me. I'm sorry. Thank you. Appreciate it.
All right, thank you so much. All right, Temecula Valley Hospital, Board of Governors Dennis Frank, Chairman, and Major General Claude Ranke, Vice Chairman, and Darlene Wetton, Executive Director. Please join us.
Mayor Ron, City Council members, my friend Jeff. And I hope a lot of people realize that Jeff is in many ways responsible for the hospital being in this city. And I think any city's success, and certainly Mike Nagar as well, you have a beautiful city and you have, churches and synagogues and libraries and parks and all the wonderful things that make a city, but a city without a hospital has a huge gap, and Jeff realized that. And Jeff had a vision of the importance of that and truly fought for this city, this beautiful city, having a wonderful hospital. And so back in 2008, Jeff was very instrumental in bringing the hospital forward. When we came in 2011 and broke ground and started construction, Jeff served on the hospital's advisory committee. There was no governing board at that time. And so community members came forward and wanted to serve and really make the hospital a success. And so that was the group that decided on the mission of the hospital, to deliver exceptional and compassionate care to the community of Temecula. And I believe we've stayed true to that mission, and through those founding fathers at that time and women as well, that's what brought this hospital forward and became a part of this community. So then later on, the governing board was formed at the hospital, and Jeff was one of the original founding members of the hospital's governing board and served many years in that capacity until he had an unfortunate conflict of interest where he had to go work with someone else in the room. But we tremendously appreciate your service on the governing board as well as your creation of this hospital in the community. Thank you very much.
Implementing them and fulfilling them is what's hard.
We also have a gift for Jeff. It's too big to bring up to the front of the room. We proudly present him with every beach towel, every blanket, water bottle, shirt, umbrella, everything that we actually could find in the hospital that has Temecula Valley Hospital on it. You will be branded and wearing everything we have.
Will somebody give me a wheelbarrow?
We could arrange that too.
All right, and I see in our audience this evening we have Mr. Jamie Jones. If you wouldn't mind just standing up for a moment, I'm just going to embarrass you because I just saw you last week, so I'll give you a hard time. Jamie works for David Turch and Associates. They are our federal lobbyists in Washington, D.C. David Turch and staff have worked closely with Jeff for many years as he represented the city of Temecula in Washington, D.C. Unfortunately, David could not make it this evening, but he did send a personal video message, and as well as his top executive to join us here this evening, and will join us in the reception afterwards. So if we could have that video, please.
Jeff, my friend, I've known you as a councilman from my favorite client city, as a member of the Riverside Transit Board of Directors, as Chief of Staff to Supervisor Chuck Washington, and in so many other capacities, including a successful operative with a real estate company. I'm envious of your retirement. I wish that I had the wherewithal to join you in retirement. Tell the president I'll call him back. So if you're bored in retirement, you should know that success in real estate may offer you great opportunities for a second career in Washington. They've limited me to 60 seconds, which has really cramped my style, but good luck, buddy.
All right. And then National League of Cities, Clarence Anthony, CEO, Executive Director, sent a video message as well.
Hey Jeff, I cannot believe you're retiring, but on behalf of the National League of Cities and the local officials from all over the country, I would like to congratulate your years of public service, the time that you've given to Temecula as well as to the National League of Cities, and wish you good luck. Thank you for the 15 years of exceptional service on our Community and Economic Development Committee. I know the members of the committee has truly appreciated you for opening up your city for committee meetings and for the knowledge and perspective that you've shared with your fellow members and peers on the Community and Economic Development Committee. Congratulations, the best of luck, and don't forget about the National League of Cities. You have made an impact, and we really have appreciated your time and effort. Good luck.
All right. The League of California Cities could not be here this evening, but they did send a proclamation. And now, recognitions from the city of Temecula, Mr. Aaron Adams, our city manager.
Could I invite all the members of the executive staff to join me down here? Also members from the city manager's office that are here in attendance. Betsy, others, please join me. Peter, you're welcome to join us too. Got everybody here. Mr. Mayor, before I begin, there's a lot of very important people in the audience behind me, but I would just like to single out one particular individual that's in the front row to my left, who was on the very first Temecula City Council. That's Mrs. Peg Moore. Mr. President, I prepared some statements so I would get this right. In 2015, when you were last mayor, you presented your colleagues and I with a small piece of Temecula granite, and the words inscripted read, "In grateful appreciation for your significant contributions to the city of Temecula. Your dedication to excellence enhances and strengthens the foundation of our city." The granite was, of course, symbolic of material that was used to establish a sturdy, certain, and secure foundation. In this case, all the effort that went into building, planning, and developing a newly incorporated city, and all the decisions that go with. In this particular case, the actual granite stone originated from the southern hills of Temecula and for a century served as the foundation at the site upon where this building, Temecula City Hall, was constructed and stands today. And Jeff, since you did not gift yourself such an appropriate reminder, we saved one additional piece, small piece of granite, and we knew it would be a fitting tribute to present to you with this symbolic parting gift for your 25 years of public service and dedication to the city of Temecula and the people of Temecula. Your granite reads, "You are significant to the foundation of Temecula. We appreciate your leadership, enjoy retirement, and we will miss you." And it's signed by every member of the executive team and the city manager's office. Jeff, it is my privilege to present you this small token of appreciation from the team. Thank you for your personal and your professional support your entire tenure. Thank you, Jeff.
Thank you, sir. Keeping me communicated. The glue here. The glue. I feel like this is a receiving line. Right. I have one more thing for you. Oh, no. Yeah. I'm going to take the liberty of going a little bit out of sequence here, but I'm down here, you're down here, and a gift that we've started a tradition, those of us affiliated with Public Works have started to produce and give to everybody that retires from the city of Temecula. It's very special. There's not many of them out there. With the help of your wife, we have a very special inscription on what you're probably going to guess we're going to give you, but I just wanted to share a quick story of how long I've been working with Jeff, and it revolves around this building right here. Many, many years ago, I started to work with Jeff and a few others on the concept for this building here in Old Town. Our old city manager, Sean Nelson's out there. He and I agonized over details here for a while and came to fruition. We found funding, we got a construction contractor, and we were under construction. And about halfway through this 18-month construction project, we realized we may be able to deliver this building so that Jeff can be the first mayor and serve over the first council meeting in this building. And so about 3/4 the way through, it was looking like, uh-oh, I don't know if I'm going to be able to deliver on that promise. I went over to Sean and I consulted with him, and I was like, how are we going to tell him we're not going to make it? We're not going to tell him that. We're going to find a way to get this done. And like Kevin mentioned, you bring the best out of everybody, and we wanted to deliver that for you here. And so it was my honor to work with you, and the day of our first council meeting, there was an army of staff members that showed up here at about 6 a.m. We were cleaning, we were vacuuming, we were dusting. Luke, Aaron, and I were underneath conference tables assembling those. There were people putting desks together. There were people putting outlet covers on. When we had that meeting at 7 o'clock, this place was glistening. This place was shining, and no one would know that we were here all night and all day getting it ready. But that's what you bring out of folks, Jeff. And it's been my honor to work with you these many years. I wish you all the best in your retirement. This will be yours. We'll go ahead and peel that open. We'll do that. While I'm doing that, you didn't tell the whole story. I'm very proud to have my dear friend Ron Roberts' wife and son here. And I appreciate them being here. Ron can't be with us, but Ron was the mayor pro tem and was the incoming mayor in 2011, and we were right at the end of 2010. And I would go into Sean's office and say, Sean, I want to be the first mayor in this building. Speed it up. And Ron would go into Sean's office and say, it's okay, slow it down a little bit. And I always joked with Ron how I won that one. But he got his share of victories as well. That is cool. I know exactly where this is going to wind up, too. Wouldn't have fun. You guys hold it. Okay? Best picture of the night, right? Yeah. Thank you. Whoop. Come on. Thank you, ladies.
Great. Next up, Council-elect Zach Schwank, also Community Service Commission Chair.
All right. Good evening, Mayor and council members. I'm going to get rid of that.
You'll make a great council member.
While they're always like to work behind the scenes, I'm going to call, there's a lot of people in TCSD that are here tonight. I want to have them come up and join you, Mr. President. Welcome. Come on, commissioners as well. Don't be shy now. Okay, Mr. President, we have a watercolor here. Should we grab it? Yeah, let's grab it and set it up there so we can describe it, show everybody. Yeah, let's unveil it.
He's the boss.
Get it up there. There we go. So this watercolor is by local artist Bonnie Martlin. Bonnie, come on. So this just depicts a few of the many accomplishments of Mayor, longtime council member, and Temecula Community Service District President Jeff Comachero, including Penny Pickles, Workshop, Temecula's Children's Museum, the Civic Center, the building of the Promenade Mall, the renovations to the Merc, and the Old Town Temecula Community Theater, one of the jewels of our city. Also depicted our ribbon cutting representing his support of the creation of more than 40 parks here in the city, his Temecula Has Heart campaign, and support and appreciation of all branches of the U.S. military. They're just a few of the many contributions that TCSD President Comachero has made in his 25 years of service to the community of Temecula. So Councilmember Comachero, Mr. President, on behalf of the Temecula Community Service Commission, our department, and staff, we humbly thank you for your dedication and the great job you have accomplished in your 25-year public service to our city. We wish you all the very best in your future endeavors, and we look forward to working with you as a Temecula resident. I know that very well. You possess a rare combination of vision, fairness, and compassion. You have been an inspiration to all of us, and you'll certainly be missed. Thank you for everything you've given our city. Thank you.
Gotta hold it down a little because I'm short. Thank you. Thank you. And thank you
All right, and if my colleagues could join me down at the
Mr. Mayor.
podium. Yes, sir.
I hate to interrupt you. The first time I'm going to interrupt you.
All right, it won't be the last, I'm sure.
We have one more item. All right. We have a presentation of the gavel.
Right.
Sorry. All right. Mr. President, I know this gavel has seen a lot. 13 years as TCSD president. You are an inspiration. You are a guiding light, not only to me, but to our community. It is my honor and my privilege to be able to pass this to you as TCSD president one last time.
Thank you. I have a feeling I'm going to pass a few things to you as well.
All right, a couple more items. So all the employees, everybody who works with the city of Temecula gets a pin. Depending on their years of service, it's my honor to present you with the 25-year pin for all your years of dedication and service to the city of Temecula. Mr. Comachero, always an honor to have worked with you, and this is an amazing accomplishment and signifies 25 years of amazing work. I know. There's only like 3 people.
Thank you.
All right, and then we too have a proclamation, not surprisingly.
Yeah, I figured you would.
Right? You're going to have to get a special room added onto your house just to hang all this stuff. Proclamation reads, whereas Jeff Comachero has served the city of Temecula for 25 years and was first appointed to Community Services Commission on October 11th, 1993, where he served until he was elected to the Temecula City Council on November 4, 1997. And then re-elected 4 times thereafter, serving a total of 5 terms continuously through December of 2018. And whereas Mr. Comachero served as Temecula mayor 4 times, and as Temecula Community Services District President, Temecula Redevelopment Agency President, and City Council Liaison to the Planning Commission and Community Services Commission. And Mr. Comachero has many accomplishments to be very proud of, including seeking every opportunity that preserves the city's high quality of life, serving as co-chair of the Yes on Measure C to build and preserve Temecula's beautiful parks and landscaped parkways, collaborating with our county supervisors on issues affecting our city, ensuring that our road system meets our dynamic growth, protecting large areas of open space, including Puesca Mountain and the Santa Margarita Ecological Reserve, providing a reliable and relevant system of public transit for regional commuters, fostering an environment that encourages input from all citizens, master planning the ultimate vision for historic Old Town Temecula, establishing an environment for a new hospital and a college campus within our city, continuing to implement the Temecula Cultural Arts Master Plan, planning and constructing the Civic Center, the library, Senior Center expansion, Penny Pickles Workshop, Children's Museum, Old Town Temecula Community Theater, and Innovative Teen Center, and an additional multi-purpose sports complex, continuing to find enduring ways to honor our military veterans and working with the neighboring cities to create greater county and state awareness of our regional needs. And whereas Mr. Comachero has served on the Board of Directors for the Temecula Valley Film Council, Board of Directors for Temecula Valley Sister Cities. This is a long list, folks, so bear with me. This is the resume of a remarkable man. Board of Directors and Chairman of the Board of Riverside Transit Agency, and has served as a representative on the National League of Cities, Community and Economic Development Policy and Steering Committees, League of California Cities Community Housing and Services Policy Committee, U.S. Conference of Mayors, Community Development and Housing Committee, Western Riverside Council of Governments, was founding chairman of the I-15 Regional Partnership, and has chaired or served on numerous other boards, committees, task forces, and where Mr. Comachero, forward-thinking and tireless efforts have always sought the highest quality possible for all projects, big and small, have made Temecula a better place to live, work, and play for generations to come, and his philosophy to continuously elevate to excellence will carry on as the Temecula way. The City of Temecula commends Jeff Comachero on his many achievements, appreciates his accomplishments, and warmly wishes him a wonderful and rewarding retirement. Now, therefore, I, Matt Ron, on behalf of the City Council of the City of Temecula, hereby proclaim December 11th, 2018 to be Jeff Comachero Day.
I know.
And not to be outdone, we didn't want just another proclamation. We wanted the key to the city as well. So there you go.
Thank you.
So yeah, I mean, we still have a meeting to do, Jeff, so if you wouldn't mind. All right, and I'd like to now invite my colleagues to say a few words. Mr. Nagar.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. You know, I don't know how you sum it up in short platitudes like that. I got to work with you for 19 years, and I remember running against you in 1997.
I beat you.
You did. Right. And I had to complete that effort, so I was there when you were sworn in. And I get to be here when you step down. There's so much history in this room. And you come, somebody give me a tissue. And these tears are not of sadness, they're really of joy, because I've got to serve with you for 19 years. And there's a lot of things I remember, so many things we can't mention them all. A few things stand out. You're about the only one that could reel Jeff Stone and I in. Okay. With all of our crazy ideas, and those of you will remember that. Of course, along came Mr. Washington, and he lent a calming influence as well. But we've had a lot of history here serving on these chambers, and one thing that I always remember in working with you, there was a period of time, I think from 2001 up until today, where we just hit a groove, where the teamwork, not only here on the city council, but all of you that are in this room, all of you that are in this room, it blows me away that I got to be here and I got to be here with you. It's a snapshot in time that I don't know that will ever be repeated, but that's what Temecula has emerged, and it started with Peg Moore, and I see Barbara Tooker out there. There's no great cities without great school districts, and certainly you played a part in that. I see Sean Nelson out there. He looks like he's getting younger every time I see him. There's Jeff Stone and Melissa and all these people out here. But Jeff, we had a saying where I knew you were always there to comachero me, okay? I knew that if I got too wild afoot, or if I got too animated, or if I got too angry at something, you were always there to just reel me back a little bit, push me to the side, explain it to me another way, and then it came out okay, you know, and you were always that to me, Jeff. I can't sum it up in a short amount of words. All I can say is that you've been a great friend, you've been a great business partner, you've been a great mentor. I love you very much, and I hope we continue to be friends, because you've been nothing but. Thank you, my friend.
Ms. Edwards.
Well, thank you, Mr. Mayor. I've been dreading this day for at least a year, so I think I may have gotten my tears out of the way. I can tell you that while Greg and his team were busy trying to get City Hall underway and open for incoming Mayor Jeff Comachero, I was the mayor in 2009, about to give up my seat, and while you were trying to finish City Hall and dig out the holes, I was out there at night filling in the holes, hoping that I could spend at least one council meeting as mayor before I handed over the gavel to Jeff. But somehow it seems so fitting that the person with the seniority and the respect of entire communities in the county, and I can now say a state and at the national level, my colleague Jeff Comachero has done so many things that you've heard today. But the Jeff that I remember the best was the person that I wrote the first campaign check to. I was your first donor on your campaign because he certainly has a vision and he has a way of presenting that vision. And you've heard exactly what Mike said, and you've heard what's been said about him. Respected for being able to tell you how proud he is of you, but by the same token, he can absolutely tell you why he disagrees with you, so much so that you tend to reverse your decision, whatever it is. He always came through with the common sense and well thought out decisions. And not only that, he's visionary. He is not someone who is just reactive. He's proactive and has been all along, which is why you hear things like from Larry Rubio and how much he misses Jeff at RTA. The changes that you made at RTA really have helped to sustain that organization, one of the best run organizations, I think, in the country. So being proactive, he had a dream. Well, actually, I think it was Pat that had the dream, and Jeff concurred, and that is why we have what I shall now and forever call penny pinkles. I remember that my husband, Tom, was serving with you on Community Services Commission, and so penny pickles was a topic of conversation. I also remember the night that the City Council sat and, let's just say, discussed how it would spend $8 million it had to spend, and how you still fought for that children's museum. Now, I think I was sitting in the audience because I came to every council meeting for years and years, and I still remember your impassioned plea with Councilmember Carl Lindemans about why we needed a children's museum. So it certainly came to fruition, and I clearly remember you and I and Pat and my husband Tom sitting on the floor of Penny Pinkles and putting price tags on all the things that were to be sold in the gift shop when it was to open within the next 2 or 3 days. So you've heard about Jeff serving on National League, and I had the pleasure of serving with him at National League of Cities and all these high-level agencies. I see Jeff sitting on the floor of Penny Pickles, putting price tags on those items that were to be sold. I also see him sitting in a tiny room at the CRC with Carl Lindemans and Lydia and Tom and I and Pat and probably our kids. I remember our twins were there, and several other people putting how many 7,000 stickers on hats that said, "I helped make Old Town great," because the city council had decided that Old Town needed a facelift if it were ever to succeed and overcome the blight that was quickly taken over. And so we started the I Help Make Old Town Great campaign. Renovations took place. We followed the advice of Kaiser Marston and put the community theater down here. We started purchasing land that put City Hall on this site. And Bailey's Restaurant was the first business to really take a chance on the fact that Old Town was going to thrive and succeed. And there we were sitting in that room putting 7,000 stickers on those yellow hats. And I still have one of those yellow hats, and I looked everywhere for it and couldn't find it in time to bring it. But those are my memories of Jeff Comachero. He was always a wonderful mentor, always provided great advice, forward-thinking, and not afraid to tell you exactly what he thought, even if it was in disagreement with exactly what you thought. And I am going to miss you, and I've told you that over the past year. I couldn't talk him out of retiring, and Pat, I know, is certainly glad, and so are the kids. But selfishly, I wanted you to stay, and I'm sure as much as Mike did and everyone else. But you have certainly earned your retirement, and whoever ends up playing golf with you 3 days a week, I envy them, because you will get to spend time with one of the greats, and his name and fingerprints are all over this city. And it's a wonderful thing. And you know I love you, Pat. You know I love him too, and you. Our kids have grown up together, and it's been a wonderful, wonderful experience, not only for us, but Temecula is so much better off because of your service. So thank you.
Mr. Stewart?
All right. Well, as the new guy for about the next 10 minutes, I had the privilege for 2 short years being under Mr. Comachero over there, and I have always appreciated your wisdom and your insightfulness. And a lot of people don't know we have closed sessions, and that's when a lot of the discussion happens. And I've always appreciated Jeff's take on things, and so it's been very good. And Temecula is greater because of your service, so thank you.
Appreciate it, Stu.
Jeff, looking at Kathleen Hamilton in the back of the room, and it was nearly 12 years ago that Kathleen introduced you and I together, and it was at the beginning of that Liberty Quarry issue that we spent little issue that we spent hours and hours on. And I remember first meeting you, and you were very welcoming, very open, very easy to talk to. Little did I know 8 years later I'd be sitting alongside you in a seat with the Temecula City Council. Couple of things I wanted to mention. One is, and you'll see this, as everybody refers to you as the statesman, right? and it's an easy term because you represent yourself and the city so well. You're a consummate professional, and I've had the opportunity to learn from you a great deal. I consider you a teacher and a mentor, and I appreciate you taking the time when I first got on the city council to talk to me and answer questions. And I know that it was more than one meeting where we left these chambers, and you and I shook hands at the end of that meeting. And as contentious as items may be, or whether or not we agreed, you and I were always able to find a common ground, and we shook hands and said that was a good meeting. And I know that we were both able to walk away very proud of the service we did for our city. And it was your leadership that allowed me to do that. So I genuinely appreciate that. You have a giving heart, and that is obvious when you look at places like Penny Pickles. And it's obvious when you pick a theme for your year as mayor that's Temecula has heart, that has left an indelible mark on our city, and is something that wasn't just a theme for that year, but has become a mantra in our city and in our chambers. And that's an important legacy for you to have. You're also incredibly humble. This evening is about you. It's about your legacy with the city. But as important, I think, and as full of emotion as this evening is, I think it's as important for all of us too. It's important for us to have a chance, your city, to tell you how much you mean to us and how much your service and your dedication to this city means. We all struggle in finding our way of thanking you in the right way and finding the right words. And we also struggle in hoping that we're able to have the same ethic and the same heart after you're gone. But I can tell you that your message and your spirit have left a lasting legacy for our city, and I'm very honored to have been able to serve with you. All right. And now we do have a video to watch, believe it or not. We're not done yet. We do have a video if we could. I got to say, he impressed me. You know, he's very much a statesman, very articulate, and presented himself and the city in a very good way.
In 20 years of doing this, I've seen a lot of council members in my own cities and in other cities throughout the state, and Jeff Comachero is a council member's council member. He has the ability to see the big picture and then bring everybody to the end goal and the end result.
Nobody ever asks 50 years after you build something what it cost to build it. All they say is, wow, look at that. Look at how beautiful it is, and look at what great foresight the leaders of the city had at the time they built it.
And I went to two people, Jeff Stone and Jeff Comachero, and I asked them if they wanted to be co-chairman of the Yes on Measure C campaign. And I told Jeff Comachero that if Measure C passed, that I believed that he could run for city council on that record, and that if he did run for city council, that he could get elected. And Measure C passed. He ran in November of '97, and he was elected to the city council, and he's been on the city council ever since.
I think he has such a heart for this city and everything that the city stands for. I think he's in many ways responsible for the culture of the city and really staying true to values.
My first impression of Jeff was that he was somebody who was very smart. He was a statesman, if you will, and he had a good understanding of where he wanted to take the community. And you put all that together, and that's a very powerful combination for an elected official.
What is striking about Jeff is the fact that good is never enough for Jeff. It always has to be best.
Every major thing that seems to happen in Temecula, Jeff just happens to be the mayor when it happened. His name's on the plaque at this beautiful theater as the mayor. 5 years later, he happens to be the mayor again, and the city hall gets completed. So I don't know if that's funny or that's a compliment to a guy that knows how to get things done, but he knows how to get them done when he's the mayor, so God bless him for that.
He's invariably tried to respect the opinions of everybody, even though he didn't agree with those opinions. No one does, but he would invariably try and seek out both sides or all sides to an issue before making a decision. I think that's important.
Jeff is he's a voice of reason. He's committed, and people who don't know him outside of city council, he carries that as well as much more.
He's headstrong and he thinks things through. When he believes in something, he really goes after it, and he does a good job in logically presenting his arguments.
Jeff has always had the ability to compromise
And I think that's one of the best things about him, is that nothing is just black and white. There's gray in there, and he listens to people. And I think because of him, our city is a better place.
He's very truthful in his response. He lets you know where he stands just as well as you let him know where you do. So that's what I appreciate about Jeff.
He's one of those guys that can take his intelligence and apply it to a situation such as a city council member and developing the city, and stay true to his intentions. He wanted to help the city. He wanted to help the city develop in the right way, and he's done that.
If I were to describe Jeff, I would have to say a family man.
I love how he talks about his wife. So I would say husband first, family first for sure, his son. Just such, he's such a family man. I always really admired that.
Jeff, you know how much I love you, and I know how much you've been part of my life and everything we've gone through together. We've gone through good times and bad times, but you've always been there for me, and I love you very much. And thanks for being my brother.
People like Jeff are the founding fathers of Temecula, who really laid out the plan to ensure that it's being built and developed with the right amenities and the right projects to ensure that it continues to go in this direction.
He was never afraid to take on a project that may have been a little bit overwhelming. They always worked out. Everything he's worked on, as far as I know, has come to fruition, and very nicely so.
He also said something that stuck with me through my entire career, and he always said, you're never sorry doing something right the first time. And I heard him say that more times than I can tell you. And I think the city of Temecula did things right the first time, and I think Jeff Comachero had a lot to do with that.
I don't think anything would surprise people about Jeff. He is who he is. He's been consistent over the year, good family man, cares about the community.
If there was an issue, we'd be able to get it solved. And that's what I loved about Jeff, and that's what I will always remember about Jeff, is just the steadiness of his soul, and the fact that he is an honorable man, and that doesn't change.
He had an excellent grasp of the issues facing the city, as well as the need for economic development for the economic viability of the city, but also a love of the city and a desire to preserve the character of the city, and that we should not lose that as we develop economically and grow.
Jeff has a very special place in his heart for youth programs. I know the Penny Pickles Museum is one of his most important legacies in the city. And for both him and his wife, I think it's created something that's very unique to Temecula.
For me, his lasting legacy will be the fact that he was so supportive of Save Our Southwest Hills. I don't think we could have done it without the city, and Jeff Comachero led the pack. He said, I've heard people all get together and they spell something out. And we said, well, that sounds like a great idea. And of course, then we did the living sign, and it was very effective. But thank you again for that, Jeff. Yeah, that was great.
His Temecula Has Heart campaign really, I would say, would be his lasting legacy. That's something that's going to stick around within this community for years to come.
Over the last 25 years, Jeff's commitment to our community is the one thing that will stand out for all eternity.
He can always look back with pride that he contributed to one of the greatest cities in not just California, but I think the country.
I think his lasting legacy is hard to put into words. I think he has set the bar for how elected officials should behave, and his lasting legacy is always making the decision that's in the best interest of citizens, not for himself, not to look like he's the guy, always what's the right and best thing to do for the city of Temecula.
He is a kind, but very direct and open with his thoughts and opinions.
I find him to be very wise.
Kind-hearted. Very community-minded.
Very youth-oriented.
Astute.
compassionate,
Very intelligent.
A leader,
Loyal, dedicated.
Hardworking, veteran.
Even-handed, balanced, did his research, and he had heart. And he had heart.
Smart, wise, kind. That's Jeff Comachero.
George Bernard Shaw once said that a gentleman is one who gives more to the world than he takes. And Jeff Comachero is truly a gentleman. Thank you, Jeff, for all your service to your community and everything you have done for those around you. Congratulations on a well-deserved retirement.
Congratulations to you, Jeff Comachero. It has been a privilege to work under your direction in the city of Temecula. You have left your handprints all over this town, and your legacy will carry on.
I would just like to thank you, Jeff, for everything that you've done for the city, for my family, for myself. If you're ever wondering what your legacy is, it's living on in all of us. We love you and appreciate everything you do.
I know that he drives through this city and still pinches himself and says, I can't believe that, you know, I get to serve this city, and look how wonderful Temecula is and what we've become. And we couldn't have done it without him.
I listened to you, I've heeded your advice, and I thank you, to you, your whole family, for all the love and support over the years, and I wish you all the best in your retirement. You deserve it, you earned it. The city of Temecula is a better place because of you, Jeff, so thank you.
A letter from Jeff Comachero's mother. I could not have predicted that my precious son would evolve into an area of politics on such a high level. In his youth, his only interest was sports, as he always
Jeff, would you like to say a few words?
I don't know what I can say after that. That's pretty emotional, and there's so many people to thank. I look at that, the body of what we've talked about and seen tonight, and I think, who is that guy? It's amazing when you hang around long enough, the body of work, it just piles up, and you don't realize it. You don't think about it. I mean, consider if you do one project a year for 25 years, you've got quite a resume, and yet that seems like, well, I just haven't done anything, you know. So there's a tremendous pride that I feel tonight. But I want to make sure everybody knows, and I know I don't have to say it, but although mine is the face out there and the face in the video, what a tremendous collective effort this has been, and amongst so many people. And I start off those thank yous with my beautiful wife, who I adore. You'd be amazed if you knew how she kept me grounded and still does. And whenever I would start to think like my head was getting a little big, she'd go, "Who do you think you are?" Yeah. She was right. I love you, sweetheart. Our boys, Alex and Andy, here tonight. You know how I feel about you guys. And Brina, Alex's beautiful wife, and the light of our lives, their two daughters. You caught a glimpse of them before, Simone and Charlotte, who are just as beautiful as two granddaughters can be. Sorry, Chuck. We used to fight over whose granddaughter was sweeter and better looking, and finally we decided it was a tie. I've gotten to work with so many wonderful people over the years who have all contributed so much. You know, I even hesitate to go down that road because I'll forget half of them, but excuse me. When I look out and I see our former colleagues here on this dais, Jeff, Chuck, excuse me, Peg, you and I never got a chance to serve together here, but you and your colleagues at the time, and certainly Jimmy, made it so much easier for us who came afterwards because you set such a remarkable foundation. I remember talking to Ron Parks, who you saw in the video, Temecula's first mayor, and he doesn't come this way too much anymore, but we used to play a lot of golf together. And I said, Ron, how did you guys do that? I mean, and he said, we didn't have the foggiest idea what we were doing. And I think he was right. He was being serious. But there was a sense of right there. There was a common sense. And with good hired staff, I go back forever, but the first city manager was Frank Alshire, right? Some of you remember, right? Who was already retired and came in to help move things along. And people like Ron Bradley, who taught me an awful lot, who was the city manager when I was first elected. And Sean, we had a certain connection that it just lent itself well to getting things done. And we did a lot, and I thank you. And my colleagues up here now, Stu, it's been a pleasure for 2 years. Marianne, I love you too. It's been an absolute pleasure. And Matt, you need to get a little more education, but you'll be okay. Matt once told me he had more degrees than a thermometer. And to Michael, I got to tell a story. Again, for those of you who were around, many of you here were involved in those days as well. When I was first elected in '97 and Mike followed 2 years behind me in '99. I don't mean to embarrass you, Mike, because if I embarrass you, I'm embarrassing myself at the same time. But I'd say we didn't get along. Is that a fair statement?
I would say so.
And that's, kind of being kind to the situation. But, well, we just came with a different perspective to the office, and we fought a lot. And there were struggles, there were power struggles, there were a lot of struggles. And then in 2001, there was an election, and the outcome of that election kind of meant two things would happen. We'd continue to have rancor and get little done for the next 4 years, or we could sit down together and bury the hatchet and say, let's lock arms and move together. And Mike, that was your doing. I remember distinctly you came to me at that time, and we barely spoke to each other then. So, I mean, think about the times. And I don't remember your exact words, but it was something akin to, let's work together. Let's get things done, because otherwise nothing in the city's benefit is going to happen. And a funny thing happened along the way. Not only did we start working together, but we became friends, we became business partners, and it really is a nice story. And when you look back, and this may sound a little self-serving, but when you look back at the various events that really set the stage for what Temecula could become and eventually has become and will continue to become, that moment in history, I think, was vital, Mike. I really do. Because we wouldn't have gotten over that, I think. There was such a deep divide. I mean, it's amazing. And to think what some heart can do. So I appreciate that. There have been many watershed moments in this city, too many to even talk about. Certainly the hospital, that's a great story. I remember Old Town Temecula. When I was first elected, I very foolishly said to anyone who would listen, when I hang it up someday, I want Old Town to be my legacy. Came out pretty good, you know, not bad. But so many people have been involved. And you know, the story that we're hearing tonight is the story of Temecula more so than it's the story of me, because all those successes, and we had a few rocky times along the way, but all those successes really were made possible by so many people. Again, I'm not even going to try, but a special thank you to Ron and Jeannie Roberts. I know that we haven't talked a whole lot about Ron tonight. I love that man. And for whatever I've become as a council member, good, bad, or indifferent, I owe to him. He taught me what it was like to really love this city. For those of you who've spent some time with him in the past, you didn't always see that. You know, he was a cop, and that cop mentality. No offense, Mr. District Attorney. Excuse me. But what a heart, what a tremendous heart Ron has. And he just took me under his wing, and he mentored me every step along the way. And I think when I go home tonight, I'm going to have a little glass of Grand Marnier in his honor. Because that was what we used to do. When we traveled together, we'd usually end the night with a little nightcap. And I'm not much of a drinker, but little Grand Marnier, and Ron used to refer to it as the nectar of the gods. And we'd end the evening. So that was always fun. Too many stories to relate. Those of you who know me well know I always like to joke a little bit. I don't have any jokes tonight. It's just a very, very sweet evening. And I thank all of you for being here and for all of the kind words. Very much appreciated. And I love you all. Got the best-looking member of our family, my brother Aaron. Aaron, thanks for coming tonight. Appreciate it.
You know, in all this celebration, I don't think we made arrangements to put Mr. Comachero's name up on the wall of honor right outside in the lobby. Do we need a vote of the council to do that?
We can handle it tonight, or we can bring it back another time.
No. Let's just make that motion tonight, and I'll move that.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Abstain.
That committee with me, aren't you? Yeah.
Another 10 minutes, maybe.
All right. Well, you know, I love working with this city. I love the city staff. You got to see here and highlighted in yellow, note, follow Betsy's script, right? This is what the staff does. They put this whole thing together so I don't go off script. Thank you. Let's go ahead and conduct the joint meeting of the City Council and Temecula Community Services District. Item number 17 this evening, accept the November 6, 2018 General Municipal Election Declaration of Results and conduct swearing-in ceremony. Ms. City Clerk, can we have a report, please?
Yes, Mr. Mayor. Very quickly, Mr. Comachero, as a Temecula employee and Temecula resident, thank you. Mr. Mayor, council members, the City of Temecula held its general municipal election on November 6, 2018 for the purposes of filling 3 full-term City Council member seats in districts 1, 3, and 5. The election was conducted in accordance with the California Elections Code. The city consolidates with Riverside County for the conduct of the election. The Registrar of Voters conducts the canvass and certifies the results, after which consolidated agencies, including the city of Temecula, can officially declare the results. The certified results were received electronically from the ROV on Friday, December 7th, indicating the election of Matt Ron to District 1, Marianne Edwards to District 3, and Zach Schwenk to District 5. The resolution in the agenda packet, along with the attached statement of results, formalizes the declaration of these results. And that concludes staff's report, and unless there are any questions, it is recommended that the City Council adopt the resolution declaring the election results and direct the administration of the oath of office for elected officials.
Madam City Clerk, it's my honor to move that item.
Second.
All right. Let's go ahead and cast your votes, please.
Yeah, go ahead.
There we go.
There you go.
Close enough. Oh, thank God. All right. Well, you never know. So that passes 5-0.
Mr. Mayor, I'll
Yes.
now go ahead and ask you and Councilmember Edwards and Councilmember-elect Schwenk to go ahead and join me at the podium to conduct the swearing-in. Okay, if you can please raise your right hand. I state your name.
I, Marianne Edwards,
Do solemnly swear or affirm
solemnly swear or affirm
that I will support and defend
that I will support and defend
the Constitution of the United States
the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of California
and the Constitution of the State of California
against all enemies,
against all enemies,
foreign and domestic,
foreign and domestic,
that I will bear true faith and allegiance
that I will bear true faith and allegiance
to the Constitution of the United States
to the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of California,
and the Constitution of the State of California,
that I take this obligation freely
that I take this obligation freely
without any mental reservation
without any mental reservation
or purpose of evasion,
or purpose of evasion,
and that I will well and faithfully
that I will well and faithfully
discharge the duties
discharge the duties
upon which I am about to enter.
on which I'm about to enter.
Congratulations.
We got the wave in the back of the room. Community services. All right. Making yourselves known. Boy. All right. Thank you, Madam Clerk, and congratulations to all the candidates for successfully going through this election process. And congratulations also to Councilmember Edwards and Councilmember Schwenk. Thank you so much for joining us here. So exciting. Let's see. We'll now ask for any comments on this item. None? Seeing none? All right, let's just move on.
Mr. Mayor, at this point, we'll go ahead and have each of the council members provide their election-related comments, starting with Councilmember Schwenk.
All right, go ahead.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor. I just want to say thank you to my family. This was a new process for us. I'd never run for an elected office like this before, so Jennifer stood by me every step of the way, so thank you. I love you very much. She definitely grounds me and makes me a better person. You saw Emily tonight play the flute, and Jack and Owen as well. They're just amazing children, and they sacrificed a lot during this process. It's a lot for families to go through, so thank you for standing by me that entire time. The rest of my family, my mom's here, my aunt and uncle are here. So thank you for coming. Thank you for being supportive. Friends who helped me along the way, not just in the campaign, but just in life. I appreciate that. Fellow commissioners, I have the privilege of working with a fine commission over the last few years, and thank you for your guidance and just the dialogue that we have at that level is, I believe, will help me at this level. So thank you for that. City staff back there, and as there was a wave attempt back there. TCSD is an amazing department. I absolutely love everyone that works for the city. They give, they pour their heart into this city. They really do. Director Hawkins has been just a mentor to me at that commission level, and anytime I needed help or I needed clarification, Kevin was always, meet me in my office and we'll talk about it, and we can just talk and really learn about the issues and learn how to be a better commissioner and a better family man and a better parent, and I really appreciate the relationship that we have. And then to my council colleagues, and that sounds very new to say, but I'm very much looking forward to working with all of you. I know you know me for being on the commission. You know what I bring. I look to bring that to this level as well, and I really look forward to a great relationship with you all. So, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. You know, I have been up here for a number of years, but it never gets old, and I never take anything that happens here at the city or on the council or working with members of the community. I never take it for granted. It continues to be the greatest honor of my life to be able to sit here and provide help to people who need it, to work hard to make Temecula the best place that it can be, to live, work, play, and raise a family. And just know that I will continue to work hard for this beautiful city that I have loved and my husband has loved for the past 30 years. And as Zach said, you know, this really is it's a labor of love, and it's a family affair. My children are now grown, but they've known me as mom. They respect the fact that I'm a council member, but they still know me as mom. My husband is home watching or streaming on the computer, so I love you, honey. And we have a fabulous campaign committee of 2, and that would be Tom and Mary Ann. And it has worked out well for us. We enjoy doing everything together as far as the campaign goes, and he very much is involved in helping me serve the city, because he maintains those home fires, keeps the home fires burning. So he's probably still awake, in fact, and I will be home pretty soon, honey. So thank you to everyone who provides help and support. And city family, you know I love you more than just anything, and continue to work with you is really a true honor. So thank you.
Very quickly, if there was anybody who was going to replace Councilmember Comachero, I'm so glad it was you, Zach. Zach, you've already put in the work these past 5-6 years, and this was just a natural progression for you. I'm really looking forward to working with you. Mary Ann, everybody knows your legacy and the work that you've done. There's really not much to say other than it's going to be a next good 4 years. Maron, you did a fantastic job this year leading the city, and I'm very proud of you. And no one deserved re-election as much as you did, so I'm very glad you're still here. And we got a dynamic team up here, and I'm looking forward to serving with you all.
Sure.
Right. And I just wanted to say it was a fun year. I've been honored to serve as the mayor for this beautiful city, work alongside just an amazing group of people, be supported by just absolutely outstanding staff. You've made the job easy, and you know, Temecula is a very special city. You know it as soon as you cross into our boundary, and you feel it and you see it here, and you all make it a very special place. And it has been my absolute honor and privilege to serve this community and to work alongside all of you. We've had a fantastic year. Look forward to seeing the next 4 years with you all, and really appreciate the confidence that this community has in us and in myself. You know, promise to continue making Temecula a great place, keeping up our high quality of life, our public safety as our #1 priority, and look forward to hearing a lot from our newest resident, Mr. Comachero. And I'm sure we will. All right. With that, we will go ahead and move on to our final 2 items for the evening. Item number 18 is to appoint the mayor and mayor pro tem for calendar year 2019. Let's see. Unless council has any questions or any public comments, do we have any public comments?
No, we do not.
Oh, all right. Look at that. All right. I'm going to go take things a little bit out of order than your script. I appreciate you trying to keep us. I know, look at that face. I appreciate you. But I would like to first make the motion myself and make that recommendation that Mr. Nagar serve as mayor for 2019. Second. All right. We have a motion and a second. Please cast your votes. And that passes 5-0. And as a point of congratulations. Thank you. As a point of personal privilege, I would be honored to nominate Mr. Stewart as our mayor pro tem for 2019.
Second.
All right. Please cast your votes. Do you abstain? I don't know. Yeah, vote for yourself. Come on. What could it hurt?
Oh, you have to vote.
Councilmember Stewart, shall I put your vote in the affirmative, sir?
You can.
You can. It will be reflected as a unanimous vote, Councilmember Stewart.
All right. All right. Okay, so that takes care of item 18. Item number 19. Item number 19 is appoint president and vice president of the Temecula Community Services District for calendar year 2019. Mr. Nagar.
If it pleases the council, I think it would be a good idea if Mr. Stewart, while he's serving as mayor pro tem, also serve as the president of TCSD. And I think it would be very fitting for Mr. Schwank to serve as vice president of the TCSD, and that would be my motion.
And I will second. And do we need, can we take them as one?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Second.
All right, and that also passes 5-0. We are going to adjourn the joint meeting and move on to the regular city council meeting and ask for any reports from our commissioners that are remaining.
Briefly, the Traffic and Safety Commission will meet this Thursday night in these chambers, 6 o'clock, and we'll be looking at adding bike lanes to County Glen Way and a review for requests for parking restrictions on Calle Redondola. And I just wanted to say to Councilmember Comachero, I was always in awe of your leadership as a 10-plus year resident, and for the last 2 years, having the privilege to serve as a commissioner. I remember the first time we met, and that was after a long budget meeting right across the hall, and after 3 times of being turned down to be on the commission, I finally got word that The interview committee was going to make the recommendation, and you were the only council member I had not yet had an interpersonal reaction with. So at the end of this long budget public meeting, I introduced myself and explained I was going to be nominated, and I thought that would be it and I could get away. And you said, "Sit down, kid." All of a sudden, I felt myself sweating down my face, my knees a little weak, and for those that know me, I don't normally experience that. And I had to sit and analyze as I'm sitting down, and I'm going, what's going on? And I realized it's intimidation. It's rare that I ever had that, but you took the time after all of that, which I respect you for. The first thing you asked me was, why do I want to do it? The next thing you asked me was, what made me think I was qualified to do it? And third, what did I want to achieve? And after that, you reviewed with me what your thoughts were and what your directions were. And there was a long pause where I really was beginning to sweat. And you said, okay, kid, I'm going to support you. And it just meant the world to me that you took that time after such a long meeting to actually take the time and interview me, which showed you care about every little nuance of the city. And I felt that I left as a friend, and I just thank you for all of it.
Thank you.
Tough being late on the agenda at 9:30 at night, but on behalf of the Planning Commission, we want to thank Jeff for his years and years of service to the city, and I want to thank him on a personal note for the committees that we've served on together and the work we've done together. And I want to thank him for being a friend, because he really has. And as someone that is also recently retired, after I get past my next hurdle, I look forward to playing a lot of golf. Thank you.
All right. I don't know, public safety report. What do you have for this evening?
Well, this evening, for the month of November, the fire department ran 772 calls. Also want to let everybody know that we are doing the Spark of Love toy drive for the Christmas. You can take any unwrapped, unopened toy for any local fire station and drop it off there. And also, Mr. Camachero as well. I started here as a firefighter back in the late 80s. Worked at Station 73 when it first opened up. I too came back as a fire captain because I love the city as well, and served as a 7-year fire captain on the truck company here on the big ladder truck. And here I am now, came back as a battalion chief here for the fire department because of the city and what you guys have put together. So once again, happy retirement, sir. End of report.
Thank you. City Manager.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to congratulate you on your reelection, as well as council members Edwards and Schwenk, and welcome. I'm really excited to work alongside you, and we got a lot of exciting things in store for the next 4 years. So again, welcome to the city team. Just briefly, Mr. Mayor, congratulations. It was an incredible year under your leadership. We got a lot to be thankful for. We accomplished a lot, and we're in the midst of putting together a very comprehensive list that I'm going to share with the council next week for the calendar year in terms of what we accomplished. And it's always amazing to me when we go back and we realize what we did in January, February, and March, because we're moving so fast. So I look forward to sharing that with you. And with that, I want to remind everyone that we do have a reception for Jeff across the hall at the end in about 3 minutes. So everyone's welcome to join us over there too. So thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Mr. City Attorney.
All the best, Jeff. Welcome, Zach, and that's all I have.
All right, easy enough. Well, it's my last act as mayor for 2018. I'm gonna go ahead and, I still got 2 weeks, but the official public action, aside from watching us at the Bobby races and try and defend my title as the fastest seal on the ice. I will. No, I've been last place 2 years running. I would like to close the meeting and remind everyone that our next meeting is Tuesday, January 8th. And everyone have a good holiday season, a Merry Christmas, and an excellent New Year.